Hello everyone. In today's video, we'll be learning about string methods in Python. So let's get started. In this video, we'll be discussing about what is method or a function in Python. We'll learn about the syntax of a method. We'll learn about what is string method, and then possibly a little discussion between the method and function. And then we'll learn how to use various string method that help you in your program. So let's deep dive into what is method and its syntax. So in Python, a method is associated with an object, okay, and that you will call from that object only, and it manipulates the data which is associated with that object. It's a bookish definition. If you don't get it, that's perfectly fine. We'll be learning in a live demo where you will definitely be understanding what it means. So to invoke a method, you need to utilize a specific syntax where you have to first of all mention object name, then put a dot, and then method, and then parentheses. Okay. So for example, if you have a toy that name is a robot, and if you want that toy to be danced, then what you will write is the name of your toy, which is an object we will call as a robot, and then we will do dot, and then whatever action we want to perform on top of object. So robot dot dance, and then open and closing parenthesis. So again, to repeat, a robot is an object of toy, whereas the dance is the action. So dance can only be performed on a object which is associated with toy, right? So just to make it more clear, like if you have a object called tree, and practically if you do like tree dot dance, it won't work, right? So every object will have its own properties. Only those properties will decide whether that object can perform those specific actions or not. And in this definition, you can take method as an action that is allowed for an object. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's understand about the method and function, right? So both are doing the same activities, right? Same actions, but methods are fully dependent on object, whereas functions are independent. Okay. um, Again, in the same example, a robot was our object, and dancing was the method. And if we take an example of function, like we learn about type function that returns the data type of each and every variable or string or whatever we pass on as an argument. Also the print function, where you pass on a string on double quotes or single quotes, and it returns the same in the console. So you might have remember that when we were calling method print, we were not saying like a dot print and then we were writing in double quotes. It was plain print and then in the double quotes. And for the method, we will learn in detail. Now, how to use them? Again, what I just explained, for calling a function, you just need to write down the function name and open and closes parentheses. And if you have any arguments, you can pass on inside that function, right? In terms of method, you have to call with object. So object dot method, and then open and closing parentheses. If there is any argument that you need to pass on, you need to pass on the argument. Now, where they live, functions are standalone. As I mentioned, you don't need to specify any object to call a function, okay, and they are not tied to anything specific like print, type. These are functions, and to call them, you don't need anything specific. You can call these functions on whatever you want. Whereas method belongs to objects, so there is a very tight relationship between the method and object, and there are specific methods on a specific objects can be called. It cannot be like object A can call um, a method of object B unless they are specifically defined. So for example, cat, right? So cat is an object of animal type, and then making a sound of meow, it's a method. So only cat can do meow, not the dog. So I'm hoping this makes sense. So objects are having specific actions, we can call them as method, and they are very specific to those objects. Now there are lots of string methods available in Python. As you can see in this word cloud, we have upper, we have replace, find, is numeric, format, ends with, capitalize, case fold, title. So we'll go over a few of them in our live demo, and then you can do your own practice at home. And if there is any questions or doubts, you can put it on the comment section. So let's see live in action. Let me fire up the Python and then we will see you there. Let's get start our live demo of this string method concept. So let me take an example of a string type because we are learning um, methods on string. So I will say, let's say I'm making a statement. Okay, I'm saying, let's say I am committed to learn Python. Okay, so this is a statement. You can just think of like it is a string, right? And we will perform some actions on top of that so that the concept will be clear. So now to do very first thing, like let's do simple print and then do a statement, right? So if I just run it, you see that the same string as is got printed. Here this print is a function. Okay, there always be like, I may be using this term here and there, but yeah, we need to understand that what exactly is a method and what exactly is a function. So here you see print is a function that takes an argument, and whatever you provide inside it, just print it in the console or wherever you are printing. So this is a um, function. Let me write statement which is an object, right? This is an object, and I'm calling, let's say, lower. Okay, so here this statement is an object. Okay, so if we see, let's use the same old concept, print type of statement. So let me first of all comment it out. I'm just spending a couple of minutes so that you understand the concept. So what is happening here is this whole series of characters is stored in this statement variable, right? And when we are seeing this variable type, it is a string. Okay, Now it is a variable as well as it is an object of type string. So whatever methods you can use on top of this statement is fully dependent on its type. Okay, so because statement is type of a string, so only string related methods you can call in this object. Okay, so let me remove the comment, and if I see, let's comment these two. Statement dot lower, if I just run this, of course there will not be nothing because we are not printing. So let me print it out, and you will see what we did. We perform lower method on top of statement object, and what it does is it changed the internal data. So now what we are seeing is, instead of this capital I, this small I we are receiving because of this method. So this method is what changed the internal data of this object. But we also need to understand that if I do print statement, right? So there are two strings. You will see the one which modified the original data of statement, it's just up to that statement. It didn't modified the data and assigned back to the object. Okay, unless you do it by own. Okay, so what we learned here is that statement is an object, and then lower is a method, and when we call it, it modify the data of that object but do not assign that back to the object unless we specify. So what I mean by statement, let's say I'm creating a statement 2, okay, and then I'm assigning this whole formula here. So what I'm doing here, I'm saying I'm taking everything from statement and then making it lower and then assigning it to statement 2. Okay, so if I do print statement 2, what do you think what going to print? It's going to print this thing in lower. Just to make it more interesting, let me write it in 2, okay, in capitals, so it will be more visible. So statement is having I am committed to learn Python, where I and 2 is in capital, and what we are doing, we are taking this whole thing here and then we are doing dot lower and assigning back to statement 2, and then we are printing statement 2. So what we are going to get is everything is in lowercase. Let's try this. Everything is in lowercase. So just to make it more clear, I'm sure you got the concept, but I always like to go in very much detail so that concept will remain in your mind forever. So um, let me uh, create a basic structure of this example, and then we will learn about this couple of Python string related methods. Okay, so um, I'm going to create a variable updated statement, and what we will do, whatever we want to update, we will write here. Okay, so for example, statement dot lower. Okay, and then what we will do, we will print actual statement, right? And I would say, to be more precise, actual statement before method applied, right? and then I will do comma, and then I will call statement. Maybe let me just copy paste this to save some time, and then I would say updated statement after method applied, and then here I will be assigning updated statement. So in Python, you can print string literals. So what it mean by string literal? Like hello world, right? So this will be treated like hello world. So everything will get um, you know printed as is, and then I put in a comma, and then I provided a variable name. So because this is a string type, and this is also a string, so it will get printed. So if we run this, let me run this. So this is more easier to understand now. So what we are doing here is, we created a statement called I am committed to learn Python, where I and 2 is in capital, and then we are doing a lower method on top of this and assigning it to updated statement. Updated statement. Okay, let me run this again. Yes. So we'll now play with this a little bit. So this very first line will always tell us what was the real statement, and we will keep changing here, and then also changing here, and then we will observe the output of these two statements. Okay. So let's start first. The very first thing is a lower method. So we have, let's say, let me write it in caps everything. I am committed to learn Python. Okay, and if I run this, so actual statement before method applied was, this is the original thing which we have passed here, but after the method applied, what is happening, everything is changed to um, lower, because the method we applied is lower. Okay, let me write it down in lower only, everything. I am committed to learn Python. So everything is in lower, but this time we are calling another method which is upper, which converts everything in this object from whatever it is to upper. Let's see. So this was the original, and after we applied upper method, we are receiving everything in upper. There is another method called capitalize, right? This is capitalize. If I run this, you see, capitalize means it's not like everything will be capitalized. Only the first character of the string will be capitalized. Okay. There is a difference between capitalize and upper. Then let's say I changed this one to learn in caps, and if I do this, what will happen? This learn is now small and I is in capital. Let me give you another method called title. Okay, this is another method which is title, and you will understand now the change in this whole string when method is applied. So you will see every first character of this word inside this sentence is now capital. P becomes capital, L become capital, T become capital, C, A, and then I. Okay. There is another method called swap case. So what it would do, like it will just change whatever is there, it just revert to the opposite one. So upper to lower or lower to upper. So let me run this. So this is the original string, and you see whole this thing until here was small, so it has changed to capital. This small get changed to um, capital. This learn get changed to small, and then small Python get changed to capital Python. So I think this makes sense. And now there are many. Let me show you. Um, these are all methods. Those are available. You can use, and uh, you can practice by own. And if there's any issues, you can let me know. But the agenda of this session or video is to understand what is a method, and these are very basic methods. um, and but it is very important that you learn the concept, because when we will deep dive into object oriented programming in next couple of sessions, this is what it's going to be very useful. So we are building at this moment your fundamentals, and we will work on top of that. Okay. So let me write it down like lower, just so that our code won't break. Okay, so there are few more methods. So let me just comment out. Okay, maybe just remove this whole thing. So let me write another statement, and I'm passing some number into it. Okay, and if I do print statement, right? So we know 15 going to print, right? Now there are some method um, that we can use on type of this data, which is actually number or digit in nature, but defined as a string. Okay, so let me do something called result, and then I will do statement dot. You see there are some is like questionable actions or methods available that you can perform to check what type of value it is in the string variable. So if I do is decimal, okay, and I'm storing the output of this into result, and let me print result. Okay, so if I run this, you see 15 is a decimal. So don't get confused with decimal like 15.0, right, or 15.5. Decimal is nothing but between 0 to 9. Okay, so if I do like 15.5, it will be false, because this dot is not considered. I mean, this dot is considered as a special character in this string, and Python is unable to treat it as a number. Okay, let's say there is another method called is um, is alphanumeric. Okay, let me write it down like 155 and then a. Okay, if I run this, you will see it's going to return true. Reason being, we in this string we all have is either digits or a alphabet. So that's why this is true. If I just put, let's say, some symbol here and run it, it will become false, right? So this is what the use case of is alphanumeric. We can also see is digit, right? If there is digit, it will return true. If there is no digits, it will return false. I mean, if there is anything other than digit, it will return false. So this is completely a combination of a special character in string and then digits. If I just remove this, it's going to return true. And if I do 155.5, it's going to return false, because again dot cannot be treated as um, as a number. Okay, so I'm hoping this makes sense to you. There are a lot of is is method. You can try by own, and if you find it confusing, just let me know. Let's do one more before we wrap up this video. So is upper. Okay, so let me write it here. Let's say Python, which is again not in upper. We are checking whether it's upper or not. Okay, so we will see it's false because only P is in capital. Now I'm changing the statement value to capital, and now this should return true. See, similarly we will should be having like is lower, right? So if the statement is in lower, it should return true as false. So let me run it. It should return false because at this moment it is capital. Yes, expected. And then let me change it to um, um, this is a title, so it should fail. Let's see, it should say false. Yes, it is false because P is in capital. Now I'm making everything in small. It's going to return true. Okay, so I'm hoping this video added some value to your knowledge. If it is, then please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.